This is a call to order for the Wyoming City Council meeting of Tuesday, January 20, 2026. Our first item of business will be the invocation, which will be provided tonight by Heather Dode from Grace Reformed Church. If you wish and are able, please stand for the invocation. The Pledge of Allegiance will follow.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with gratitude for the opportunity to gather and to serve our community. We give thanks for this day, for its people, and for all who call it home. We are mindful of the leadership that we trust, and the service is a calling. As Scripture reminds us, if any lack wisdom, we are invited to ask, trusting that you give generously to all. So we ask you for your wisdom to guide the conversations and the decisions that take place here tonight. Grant clarity of mind, integrity of heart, and humility of spirit to those entrusted with leadership. Help them to listen well, to seek understanding, and to act with fairness and compassion for the good of all. We lift up those that have been out working on our streets and in our neighborhoods, especially our service crews and first responders, who have labored through long hours in difficult and dangerous conditions during the recent snowstorms. We pray for their safety, strength, and rest. Thank you for their dedication and for all the ways that they work, serve, and protect our community. We pray for unity among differences, for patience when challenges arise, and for courage to do what is right, even when it's difficult. May every voice be heard with respect. May every decision be sharpened by a desire for justice, peace, and the well-being of our neighbors. Bless this time together. May our work tonight contribute to our community marked by safety, opportunity, and care for one another. In your precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's one around there. Okay, let's do the roll call.
Councilmember Arnoyes.
Here.
Brethauer.
Here.
DeKreiger.
Here.
Hill. Here. Postma.
Here.
Hostler.
Here.
Mayor.
Here. Approval of minutes. You were sent the minutes of the January 5, 2025 meeting, 26 meeting, I apologize. And those will stand approved unless there's reason to edit or objections. Okay, those will enter in as approved minutes. Approval of agenda. Motion, please. Motion by Sheldon.
I just have
Oh, I was gonna,
changes to that before they make a motion.
okay, I was gonna make the motion, then calling you for the changes, but.
So,
Okay.
yeah, just
I should let you, okay, he's right. Let's do that first.
on resolution B, to vacate a portion of 56th Street, just to remove that from the agenda. We'll bring that back at a later meeting. And then under presentation and proclamations, to add number 3, there'll be a brief presentation from the fire department regarding that apartment fire that occurred yesterday.
Okay. I apologize. I was jumping again.
No
So
biggie.
usually, if I forget anything, it's to get the motion. So, motion by DeKreiger, second by Hill. Let's call the roll.
Councilmember DeKreiger.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Arnoyes.
Yes.
Brethauer.
Yes.
Postma.
Yes.
Hostler.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. No public hearings tonight. We do have public comment on agenda items. This public comment period is reserved for comment on agenda items only. If you wish to speak about an item that is not on the agenda, please hold your comments until the acknowledgement of visitors section at the end of the meeting. It is important to note this is not an opportunity for dialogue or debate. This is an opportunity to provide comment to the City Council. Upon approaching the podium, please begin by providing your name and address. There's a 3-minute limit per person. So right now, it's for agenda items only. Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close that public comment. We have 3 presentations and proclamations tonight, and the first one is mine, so I'm going to come up. I'm just going to spin that around. Try to at least. Wonderful. appreciated the prayer tonight from Pastor Dode. Early on, she talked about leadership that we can trust, and then she talked about a heart of service. And that's what I aspire to as your mayor, as I've aspired to, and I know the whole council does, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm excited tonight to give my last State of the City address. I was elected mayor in 2022, and this is my fourth and final. So you can deduct from that there will not be a campaign this summer. You are correct. But I'm really excited, and over the past year, we've continued to build a city that is safe, welcoming, and prepared for the future. Wyoming residents can be glad to be part of a community where families choose to live and where businesses choose to invest and neighbors look out for one another. This progress does not happen by chance. I had a conversation with a young man recently, young parent, who was telling me he grew up in Wyoming. And then he proceeded to tell me that as he and his new wife discussed where to buy their first home and start a family, he said it was a no-brainer, Wyoming. So I was really happy to hear that. It's a great city. I'm really proud to be called mayor. I have served as a Wyoming City Council member at large for 17 years, beginning in 2005, and then was elected in 2022 as mayor. So tonight is my final State of the City address. In December, after 21 years of service, I can truly say that this is one of the greatest privileges of my life. And I cannot believe I remember being sworn in as a council member in 2005. Right here. It's just amazing. So when I first took office as mayor, I promised to work every day for the good of our community. And tonight, as I stand before you for my last State of the City address, I do so with deep gratitude. I came into this role with several major goals, and I am pleased to say that most have been accomplished. Before I begin, I want to express my appreciation for several individuals. And I'm going to turn to look at them as I talk to them. Mayor Pro Tem Rob Postma. Rob has served faithfully by my side and allowed me to fulfill the role the whole 4 years in spite of several personal challenges on my part. So just a quick side note on that, I was elected in 2022, and in August of 2024, I lost my wife to cancer, and then I've been battling my own cancer journey for the last year and a half. So there were times when I wasn't sure I could complete the term, but with a guy like Rob, I mean, made it so easy and just helped me through it, covering for me in meetings and such. Councilmember at Large Rob Arnois. Rob has really mastered the role in his first term. He's a first-termer. He's done a great job. He has great financial experience, and we count on that often. It's invaluable. Councilmember Renee Hill. Renee has also been a great addition in her first term on the council. What we love about Renee is she will ask the hard questions and help us keep on track. Sheldon, my friend. He's been my wingman since he's been on the council. He's right there. We discuss a lot. He's city business. We discuss city business as much as anything else in our lives, families and other things. He's a real key guy. So, First Ward, Councilmember Kyle Brethauer. Kyle was added to our council 2 years ago when Sheldon was elected at large. Kyle comes with a lot of things, including a technology experience that's been a real help to us and a real asset. And then Marissa. Marissa served 2 full terms now. She, along with Rob, have the most experience on this council, and that's 8 years. And like I said, I've been on 21, so they got some ways to go yet. But Marissa just has invaluable input on so many things. She's so faithful, and I appreciate her so much. Our state representative, John Fitzgerald, has also joined us tonight. Thank you, John. It's a privilege to have you here. I consider it great to be your friend, and thank you for everything you do for us. I also want to thank city staff who have worked so hard over the last year to continue to deliver the exceptional services that our residents and community members expect. The success of any organization, ours included, and everything we've accomplished wouldn't be possible without your hard work. And I'm talking about department heads and up at the podium up there, other city staff, Emily, Sarah, Bree, so many. And it's just great to have you all here. From maintaining safe streets and clean parks to responding in emergencies, supporting local businesses and serving residents with care and professionalism, their work touches every life in our city, often behind the scenes. One of my obvious goals when I was elected, I was coming in 2022, and we were looking at the retirement of our long-term city manager, Curtis Holt. And I knew that that would be a big role to fill, and I wanted to be around to help appoint the new city manager, and I was fortunate to do that. And I want to say tonight, whether it embarrasses him or not, we got the right guy. John, you're the right guy. He's been tremendous to work with. We work closely. It's a pleasure, and I'll say this, the city's in good hands with John at the wheel. So today, we're not just looking back at where we've been, but more importantly, to where we're going. Again, Wyoming is a city with a proud history and a bright future. As we start the next chapter, I can say with confidence that our best days are in front of us. So, 2025 held many accomplishments for the city. As always, safety remained a top priority for the city. Our police department had 38,983 calls for service this year, while our fire department had 7,981, an increase from last year. Our officers and firefighters respond to all types of emergencies within the city in a calm and professional manner. In 2023, Wyoming voters approved a dedicated millage to increase to support public safety. In the last 2 years, we've seen significant progress in our millage-funded projects. The millage increase provided the police and fire departments with additional officers and firefighters. Several are here tonight. Have any of you been hired since 2023? Look at that, right there. There's a product of the voters of this city approving that millage to help us be safer. Where am I? The passing of the millage allowed the city to have 4 fully operational fire stations and dedicated traffic safety patrols. We've remodeled and opened both the Division and Burton fire stations and have been getting use out of the city's new platform fire truck. The Wyoming PD continued to recruit and hire additional officers this year, filling retirement vacancies and increasing staff members. With additional hiring, the police department has increased crime analysis efforts to help the department deploy resources more strategically to prevent and solve crime throughout the city. The Wyoming Police Department remains accredited by CALEA, that is the Commission on Accreditation of Law Enforcement, one of only 770 agencies nationwide to receive this accreditation, and only one of 12 in Michigan. So that's something to be proud of as a Wyoming resident. We've continued to see growth and developments in the city over the past year as Wyoming is a growing community. In the last year, we issued over 600 building permits, adding over $159 million in construction value. In the face of a nationwide housing shortage, we approved 425 new housing units in Wyoming last year. In August, we celebrated the grand opening of the Godwin Mercado. I hope all of you have had a chance to visit it, if not drive by there. A year-round event space and seasonal farmers market right here in Wyoming. That was a dream we had for several years. This space allows for private, public, and corporate event reservations year-round and will host a weekly farmers market, food trucks, and special events during the summer. And for those of you who don't know where it is, it's at 36th and Buchanan, right by Godwin High School. The completion of Godwin Mercado comes ahead of the opening of state-of-the-art industrial facilities across the street at Site 36. So if any of you have been around for a while, you know we've been talking about Site 36, the old GM plant, for years. It was a topic of discussion when I came on the council 21 years ago. We now have 3 industrial facilities, either completed or under construction or soon to be completed, with Corwell Health, Bentler Automotive, and G-Lock. We also celebrated the grand opening of the 28th Street pedestrian bridge, which has been used over 18,000 times since it's been dedicated and opened. And 4.6 miles of new trail system as part of the City Center project. City Center is a multi-million-dollar public-private partnership that includes private investment in hundreds of new attainable housing units and mixed-use developments, as well as public infrastructure such as the bridge and non-motorized trails. So revitalization of 28th Street corridor has been a long-term priority for the city. Again, that was something that we were talking about when I first came on the council. What do we do with the theater? What do we do with the, it's been a real, it's being realized now through the City Center project. I really believe that. The pedestrian bridge and non-motorized trail investments are a part of a comprehensive approach to provide increased access between emerging employment centers, city parks and facilities, housing opportunities, and forthcoming downtown destinations. Our park and recreation system connects residents to nearly 700 acres of parkland, miles of trails, more than 15 playgrounds, 7 soccer locations, 7 softball locations, 5 splash pads, and a dog park. To support new development throughout and around Wyoming, we are continually investing in our infrastructure to improve roads, increase drinking water flow to our 250,000 water customers, and maintain our wastewater plant. The third transmission line project will allow for more reliable and higher capacity water delivery. Our current existing transmission mains were put in place in the 1960s and the 1980s. Phase 1 includes 10.5 miles of 60-inch steel pipe that will be installed by next spring. As of the fall, about 15% of that water main was already in the ground. The project will provide safe and secure water infrastructure for the next 50 to 100 years. The city also began working on 2 major construction projects for this year that will improve safety along Burton, Burlingame, and Clyde Park Avenues. This road diet will include a travel lane in each direction, a center turn lane, and bike path. A similar project will take place on Prairie Parkway. While these projects take place, the city will also replace water mains under the road to ensure our infrastructure stays as safe as possible. Our Public Works team has also continued the installation of advanced metering infrastructure, or AMI. This collaborative effort will provide customers with information to better manage their water and allow the utility to update its infrastructure knowledge. This information will improve customer service, reliability, and sustainability. As always, our finance department completed a successful and clean audit. It's every year since I've been on the council, we've had clean audits. And we shared results with a new technology called ClearGov. Following the city's new strategic plan, the city began utilizing this interactive software program to track progress on our strategic plan initiatives, making information more accessible and easier to understand for the public. As we move into 2026, we're excited to see a summer of farmers markets and special events at Godwin Mercado, housing development and trail activation at the city center, and pedestrian bridge, continued infrastructure investment, and maintaining high standards for public safety. So I will end tonight by encouraging all of you who are here or watching live to get involved in city happenings. We will have openings on boards, commissions, and city council this year. You have an opportunity to work with us to shape the future of this great city. I encourage you all to stay connected, serve your community, and participate in elections. So before I ever ran for city council, I served on 2 different commissions. I wanted to be involved. We lived here, and that's the way to get started. So as I begin my last year as mayor, I look forward to working with city staff, residents, community members, surrounding municipalities, and organizations. I am committed to making Wyoming a better place to live, work, and play. Thank you so much. I will say it does get easier each year. Had less hiccups this time. Okay, our next presentation is by the Grand Valley Metro Council Urban and Community, it's for the Grand Valley Metro Council Urban and Community Forestry Grant. And I'm going to invite up Kara, Andy, and Lee. Kara, you're going to do introductions of each of you and what your roles are and all that, right? Good. So Kara's with the Grand Valley Metro Council, of which we're a member.
Good evening. My name is Kara Decker. I'm the Director of Environmental Programs at Grand Valley Metro Council. Really excited to be here tonight. Most of the time, you probably get to hear about our transportation planning processes or about our Regis programs, of which the city is an integral member. But tonight, you get to hear about our environmental program. So this map is just reminding you of Metro Council members, but our environmental programs department really covers the lower Grand River watershed. And so our services to you really centers around environmental compliance for your municipal stormwater permit. And we do that through collaboration with other municipalities in the watershed in order to meet stormwater compliance, again, for that municipal stormwater permit. And we do that through the Lower Grand River Organization of Watersheds, or LGRO. LGRO has grown into much more than just stormwater compliance, and we've been able to leverage that work into a lot of other grant programs, which are funded through, at the federal level, the state level, or through local grant programs. And I'm really excited because we're going to highlight one of those grant programs tonight. And in the fall of 2024, Metro Council received just over $206,000 through the IRA, which is administered through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources through their Urban Community Forestry Program. And all of that funding is coming directly through Metro Council to the city of Wyoming. And through that grant program, the Urban Community Forestry Program, there are some goals that the DNR wants to meet, and those include increasing community engagement in an equitable way, improving urban forestry, really with a focus on maintenance, and planting trees. And so we were working with the city of Wyoming and with the city's tree commission, with the Tree Amigos, in order to receive those grant funds. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We can't do this work alone. And I really believe, building on what the mayor just said in his state of the city, that the city's greatest assets are in your staff and in your engaged residents. So we've had the privilege of working with your DPW and with your Parks Department, which has just been a great experience, and with the Tree Amigos. So we've already started to meet some of these grant deliverables, some of which include planting trees in the city, and teaching, running some maintenance workshops. So working with DPW employees and with Parks employees to maintain some of the tree assets that you already have. So we worked with Friends of Grand Rapids Parks to run those maintenance workshops. We have more to come. And another part, a big objective of this grant that we've been working on is really to understand the assets that the city already has. So we've been working with our friends at Davie Resource Group to complete an urban tree canopy assessment in order to be able to make informed decisions about our assets or about those trees moving forward. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand it over to Lee Mueller with Davie Resource Group to give you an overview of that report, and then he's going to hand it over to our watershed forester at Metro Council to wrap it up.
Mayor, council members, thank you for having me. In my role, I have the privilege of working with cities all over Michigan, helping them understand their tree resources a little bit better and providing guidance on how to care, protect, expand trees across those communities. So what I'm going to do with just a little bit of time today is just orient you a little bit to the information we provided. You do have access to the full report and maps that help you understand it a little bit better, that I really encourage you to interact with yourselves. But I'm hoping that with this amount of time, I can just key you in on a couple of things. The first thing is we did an urban tree canopy assessment. This is a standard practice in urban forestry to understand trees across a community. What we do is we take satellite data, like if you were flying over the city of Wyoming looking down, we use very similar data, it's two-dimensional, and the urban tree canopy assessment helps to identify where there are trees, where there are not trees, and some other information. Why might you do this? Some cities look into this kind of information because it helps them understand how many trees they have. Where are those trees? Where there are trees and where they're not. Do those have trends that might mean something in terms of policy or decision making or what you're trying to achieve in urban forestry in your community? It's a really handy and quick and fast way to get a lot of information about a lot of trees, but you don't get a lot of detailed information about each tree. You get information about the forest as a whole, and importantly, on both public and private lands. So we used satellite data from 2022. We fed it into some computer algorithms and essentially generated what's called a land cover map. So the dark green on this map is where there are trees. The light green is grass and low-lying vegetation. The pink is impervious surface like pavement or buildings. The brown is bare soil, and the blue is water. Once we have a map that shows all this land cover across the city, we can begin to pull information from these data. So one of those is just how many acres or percentage do you have of each of these land cover classifications. So based on the data from 2022, we found the city of Wyoming has 29.6% tree canopy in total. You also have about 40.5% of impervious surface like pavement, buildings, and so on. Those are the two metrics that matter a whole lot for stormwater. The more trees you have, the more stormwater gets captured. The more pavement you have, the more water is running off. Since we were working with the Grand Valley Metro Council, those are some of the factors we are interested in looking at a little bit further. We also compared backwards with data from 2012. And so in 2012, there was 28.7% tree canopy. In 2022, we found 29.6%. So there's a slight increase in tree canopy over those 10 years. Now, I will tell you again, the data we used is from 2022. That was what was available, the most recently available data provided by the US government. And so, you know, it's telling you what it was in 2022. It's not telling you what it was necessarily in 2025. But it's still really important data to think about trends and information. And then lastly, because we've done this for communities all over the state of Michigan, we were able to provide a couple of other communities just as a comparison. Every community is different. Every community has its own sort of development patterns and policies, but it's always helpful just to kind of understand where things are around the state as well. One thing I want to mention real quick is that trees have benefits. Trees do work. Whether those trees are in public or private land, those trees provide a public good. The tree on your property planted in your backyard is providing clean air for everyone in your neighborhood. And it's important to recognize that trees do all of that work. The U.S. Forest Service and a bunch of partners have developed a utility called iTree. And iTree uses a lot of cutting-edge science to estimate the work that trees do. It actually tries to quantify the benefits that trees provide. So you can go to treebenefits.org, you can put in the size and species of the tree in your backyard, and it'll tell you how much work that tree is doing for your community every year in terms of stormwater capture, carbon sequestration, energy use, and so on. We actually did this for the entire city. We took the whole data we have of all the tree canopy and we aggregated it up. And so essentially the trees in all across Wyoming, public and private property, are providing about $2.5 million in benefits every year in terms of stormwater captured, carbon sequestered, energy abated, and so on and so forth. The full accounting of that is in the report, so I encourage you to look at that. Once we had the land cover data and we had both from 2012 and 2022, we could start to look at different geographies and comparisons. I'm not going to dive into these in full. All of these are in the report, but we were given 10 different GIS layers from the city, who was a really active partner in all of this, where we were able to look at how canopy may have changed in terms of watersheds and council wards and zoning districts and parks, parcels, neighborhoods, and everything. And that's a big trove of information. Some of that may be useful as the city navigates, the impact of its trees across the entire community, or looks at the impacts of different policies, or thinks about how the city might expand tree canopy across roads, right? So we provided all of that information. The city has access to it, and it's in the full report that you have. At the interest of the Tree Amigos, we also did what's called a relative tree stress assessment. So essentially, because we have satellite data that's based on infrared, we can compare the light signatures of those data across the city, and we can begin to identify where trees may be performing a little bit better or maybe not so well across the entire city. So in the darker green areas here, you have trees that probably are less stressed, have more vigor, are growing actively, where in more of the orange or the yellow areas, we're seeing signatures that some trees in those spaces might be more stressed. And you can see that's in some of the more developed areas of the city, which is not uncommon when you start thinking about urban heat islands, concrete, the impacts of restricted root systems, and so on. So those data are also in the full online map. Lastly, we provide what's called a prioritized planting assessment. So essentially, we can take that map we had at the beginning, we can pull out the existing trees, we can pull out the pavement, we can pull out the water, and say you're probably not going to plant another tree on top of a tree, on top of a building, or in the middle of a pond, right? Everywhere else, the bare soil or the low-lying vegetation is a place that could possibly be a tree. We can pull in a bunch of data such as slope, proximity to pavement, vegetation, and what have you, and we can rank planting locations based on where trees can be planted, that they would do the most good for something like stormwater or urban heat island and so on. So we did this for stormwater, heat island, social equity, and all those maps are in the full report. So because we did 2 tree canopy assessments, we can look at what your trajectory is on just those 2 points in time, 2012 and 2022, and we can project out if those trends hold true, if nothing changes and those things just continue, where might you go eventually? We also put this orange line on here, which is a 40% tree canopy goal. This is the goal that the Tree Amigos have endorsed. It hasn't been officially adopted by the city, but the Tree Amigos have said that they would like to see 40% tree canopy in the city. And so what we're seeing here is that it would be somewhere between 2125 and 2150 that goal could be achieved if all of those trends that we saw between 2012 and 2022 remain. So that is up to you guys to decide if that's sufficient, or if it's something you want to accelerate, or if the 40% goal is something that has meaning to you at all. So what do you do with these data? I like providing information so that you can use that information to make decisions. One is just recognizing that trees have benefit and value, whether that's for aesthetics, whether that's for stormwater capture, or just because you enjoy shade. It's important to recognize that trees are doing work. Another is you have a great public works program in the city that is out there, taking care of trees. They're planting trees in parks and so on in partnership with the Tree Amigos. So just providing the resources that are needed to continue moving these programs forward. Policy, you guys make a lot of decisions about what happens in your community. Some of those decisions have impacts on trees across your community. So recognizing those impacts and using these data to inform how you want to make those decisions might be a way that you choose to move forward. And then lastly, capacity. It takes a lot of knowledge and work to care for trees across the community. So ensuring that you have the right people, the right capacity, and the right knowledge to move things forward is something that I would encourage you to think about. So I am going to hand it off to Andy at this time to just talk to you a little bit about what's next. Thank you. I appreciate the attention.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andy Gordon. I'm the watershed forester at Grand Valley Metro Council. Thanks again for letting us speak about this project. So to wrap it all up, I'm going to be talking about the next steps. So the Urban Tree Canopy Report is live. It can be accessed through these QR codes here, and we'll work on getting that out, whether it's via city websites or social media, getting that out to whoever would want to view that. And then, as Lee said, this report will really help city staff determine where best planting spots are. So the next piece of this project would be to plant 100 trees. So I've already worked. We've been talking with city staff about these planting locations, and this report will just help, further determine where these planting locations should be focused. And then The last piece is these maintenance workshops. So Kara mentioned we already did teach one to Wyoming City staff in November. We have 3 more planned. We want to do another one with Wyoming City staff. We're going to do one with the public, anyone who's interested in tree maintenance. And then we're going to do one with maintenance and ground staff at the various schools here in Wyoming. So thanks again for letting us speak. If there's any time for questions, we'd love to, between the 3 of us, answer any questions.
So I just want to comment on our Tree Amigos group. So I was around when it started. I was kind of central to that all happening, and I just want to speak positively about their vision and their passion for it. I know you work with a lot of cities and a lot of communities, but I think you would probably admit that we got a good group.
Absolutely.
They're kind of on the cutting edge of this stuff, and they've really moved the marker on that, so. Any questions? Rob?
Hi there, Andy. I appreciate all the work that all of you have done. This is exciting. Is there a particular type of tree that we would want to plant, or how do you identify what's the best fit, and
Yeah.
oaks or maples or where that is located?
Sure. It all kind of depends on the site. Every site's going to be a little different. We really, given that we're in an urban area, we want to focus on really hardy trees. So there's a wide selection of trees that researchers have kind of determined that, these are the bread and butter for urban areas. They just do better with road salts or soil compaction, that kind of thing. So, there is a sort of short running list of trees, and, we source from a number of different nurseries, so we have access to, all of these trees.
So it'll be determined based on where you ultimately want to decide to plant trees?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll do site assessments for every location. Yep.
Thank you.
So then do we purchase I'm sorry, Marissa.
Oh, you're good.
Then do we purchase our trees through you?
Yep.
You help
So,
us get them and find them?
yep. So I'll work with city staff, but I already have numerous trees on hold at nurseries. It's just a matter of really getting them delivered to you guys.
The grant is paying for all the trees.
Okay, I had a couple sort of unrelated questions. The first one, with the 3 more tree maintenance workshops, the one that's open to the public, where would the public find information about when and where that's going to be?
Yeah. So we haven't set a date yet for that. Once we do, we'll work on getting that out on social media, flyers, posters, that kind of thing.
Is there like a particular page that people should follow through you guys then, that's separate from the city, or?
I would say the Tree Amigos
The
on
Tree Amigos,
Facebook.
okay.
Yep.
Cool. And then the other question, the many slides ago where it was showing how we shake up compared to other communities, does the full report have a more comprehensive list of communities? Because I was just curious, like, it seemed like sort of a random selection of cities on that list, and some of them don't have a ton in common with us, so I was just wondering.
There's not a comprehensive list. There are more cities in
Okay,
the
cool.
report. We used the data that's available to us. Not every city has this type of assessment.
Okay.
So we tried to compare it as much as we could with some different cities, and then throw in some other ones that are in the area, right?
Okay.
Like in West Michigan.
Cool, thank you.
Kyle?
Just an easy question, I think, for you. There was a canopy cover target percentage of 40%. How did you drive at that, and what is, I guess, what's the best way to get to that 40%?
You're asking about the 40% canopy
Yeah,
goal?
how did you come to that conclusion that 40% was a viable target?
You're talking about your slide.
Yeah, the slide with 40%. So the Tree Amigos, yeah, they've endorsed that goal. And the 40% canopy goal, it originally came from an organization called American Forest that endorsed that type of goal across the country. They've changed some of those dynamics, but generally in the eastern U.S. that holds true still, where 40% is where cities start to get a lot of the benefits, the exponential benefits in terms of stormwater, carbon sequestration, energy, and so on. So Grand Rapids has adopted a 40% canopy goal. American Forest suggested a lot of cities have a similar goal, and so the Tree Amigos have also, suggested that being a goal here.
Okay, thank you.
I was going to suggest that the Tree Amigos adopted 40% so that we could be higher than Grand Rapids. Well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have said it. That's it on that, right?
On that issue.
Yep. We have one more presentation tonight, and Chief Kip Snyder and Brian Butcher are going to come up and take care of that.
Hey, good evening, Council. Good job, Mayor, tonight. I'll be brief, but I'm just really excited to allow you the opportunity tonight to look at some pretty amazing, cool, heroic video from some of our firefighters from last night on a fire that started around 9:30 p.m. in the 4200 block of Clyde Park. Just to quick set it up for you a little bit, we had, and Chief Butcher is going to talk a little more detail about it, but we arrived about 9:30, fully involved fire in an apartment complex, went around back and discovered that there were 2 adults and a child in a window that were asking for help. And in fact, at one point they were talking about dropping the child out of the window. That's how desperate they were. That was their only escape because of smoke and heat was that window. So we quickly threw a ladder in and did a rescue, and the video will kind of speak for itself. But pretty amazing.
My baby, where's my baby? I got her. No, I know. I got her. It's okay. It's okay. I got you, see? It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. Oh, no. We got you. It's okay. It's okay. You got her? It's okay. Hang on. Hang on. All right. Hey, turn mom up. Tell her I'm going around this way. You hear that, Lieutenant? No. 1 week. You're good. Last step. You're doing good, dear. Keep coming. You're good. You're almost there. We got you. Everybody out of that apartment. We got you. Yeah. No, who else is in there? Who else? No, who else is in there? Nobody? No. I'm gonna go do a BS. I'll be calling at the window, okay? The apartment where we were operating at. There's ice and court.
Wow.
Pretty amazing, huh?
Oh,
I'm sure you can. Well done. Well done.
So this video is so popular and inspiring that it actually led on ABC World News Tonight. It was the lead story, which is pretty cool. Just from a 33-year-old, public safety veteran, the things that kind of stuck out to me on that video, was the big, strong, tough firefighter who grabbed the kid or the child and talked to her the whole way down. If you noticed, you could see the narrative on there, just comforting her, and and just trying to calm her fears, because what a traumatic moment for her, but the firefighter doing everything that he could to just make it easier for her. And then the mom handing off the child, you know, just kind of in a selfless moment saying, take my baby first, just kind of stuck out to me as really good stuff. But I'm going to have Chief Butcher just quick highlight the call a little bit for you.
Were you on scene, Chief?
I was not.
No, Brian?
Oh,
I got there at about 5 a.m.
Okay.
I came in early, but the pass off with them, fire came in at whatever time it came in, but Engine 2 had arrived on senior first. Car 3, which is the battalion, which was Brad Bennett, last night arrived second. Platform, the new platform truck arrived after that. So on the initial assignment, when you get there, you see what's going. They saw fire, Charlie side, which would be the back side. We go Alpha, clockwise, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. So they knew the fire was showing on the Charlie side, Division 1, which was a walkout on the other side. So they were setting up, catching the hydrant, which is getting the water, and the battalion did a 360. So as a command officer, as a battalion, you want a 360 picture of the incident. So upon his 360, he came to the Charlie side, found the people, Division 3. Fortunately, we had the platform there because I had a 35-foot ladder. It's a 2-section 35, which makes it lighter than the 3-section. The only other 35 we carry is ladder 4. It's a 3-section, so it carries 2 people can carry the 2-section, 3 people have to carry the 3-section just due to the weight. So they had the 2-section. They were able to throw it in order to reach that person with the limited staffing on there. Ladder 4 ended up getting there, but it was minutes late, about 5 minutes later. And just after this video ended, those 2 firefighters made entry to that room, did a small search, came out, and less than a couple minutes later, the room was full of fire. So it was important that they had that ladder there on that platform. I'm not waiting for that. So that's kind of what led up to that point. There's a lot more to it through the night. Obviously, they cleared at 6-ish. We went back at 6:30. We didn't leave until 1:30 this afternoon. And they ended up tearing most of it down, so we didn't keep going back for rekindles. But there's a lot that goes into that. I believe we had help from Gaines, Byron, and Granville. Kentwood, that's right. Engine 53 was there.
Wow. Fantastic.
Just one more thing. So I was sort of embedded with the fire department for 3 years, as you know, so I learned a lot coming from the police side. And man, you talk about delayed gratification. You know, every shift, these firefighters are training and doing reps. A lot of them involve ladders and throwing ladders and just doing it over thousands of reps. You know, for the opportunity at some point in their career to have a moment like this where they can utilize, you know, those reps and that training over their career to save 3 lives, really is something to me. So just really proud of them. I know you are too, but thanks.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, continuing through the rest of our agenda, that's the highlight right there. No petitions or communications, no reports from city officers. We have budget amendments, and we're going to group A, B, C, D, and E all together tonight.
Okay, I'm going to do a really high-level summary.
That's okay.
We're not going to read all of that. Budget Amendment 12 is to appropriate an additional $93,000 of budgetary authority for police training. Budget Amendment number 13 is to appropriate an additional $168,476 of budgetary authority to provide Act 425 payments to other communities. Budget Amendment number 15 is to appropriate an additional $200,000 of budgetary authority to transfer resources across the self-insurance funds. Budget Amendment number 16 is to appropriate an additional $5,381 of budgetary authority to reconcile the public safety millage funds. And then Budget Amendment number 18 is to consolidate budget for annual bonds and interest payments under the operating funds for sewer and water.
Can I get a motion, please? Motion by Postma, support by Postler. You want to add to that high-level view?
Real briefly, the first one just recognizes we received grant revenue from Milton Coles, and we'll use that for police training. Budget Amendment 13 just recognizes the full tax revenue that we receive and the full expenditures we make for Act 425 payments to other municipalities around us. We're transferring money in Budget Amendment 15 to recognize our actual claims experience. So we're just transferring money from our fleet insurance fund over to our general liability fund. Budget Amendment 16 is just recognizing the actual public safety millage revenue we're receiving and how much of that goes to our public safety fund. And then the last one is just for accounting rule purposes and also to make it easier to track our funds in the water and sewer fund. We're required to have money set aside for debt service, for operating expenses, and that's all, for example, on the sewer side, that's all going to be contained in the sewer fund, and we'll have separate accounts for debt service, separate accounts for any construction that's financed with bonds, and then separate accounts for operating expenses for both the sewer fund and the water fund.
Thank you, John. So we have a motion and support. Other questions? Let's call the roll.
Councilmember Postma,
Yes.
Hostler,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
Breathauer,
Yes.
DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda, please? Motion by Breathauer, support by Hostler. Let's call the roll.
Councilmember Breathauer,
Yes.
Hostler,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Postma,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Let's go to resolutions and go to Resolution C, please.
Resolution C is to approve and authorize signing of a release and settlement agreement with the City of Grand Rapids and Steelcase, Inc.
Motion by DeKreiger, support by Hill. Mr. Shea?
So this has been a long story, but Eastern Avenue is being reconstructed back in the summer of 2023, and that's a border road between Wyoming and Grand Rapids. And I think just shortly as Murphy's Law would dictate, shortly after the road was paved, a sinkhole developed in it and found that there was a stormwater pipe that had partially collapsed. This pipe was not on anyone's records. It was unclear who was responsible for it. Because of the emergency nature of this, Wyoming fixed the pipe, spent about $94,000 to do that. And then we determined through subsequent investigation that stormwater from Steelcase's property went into that pipe. And through a lengthy series of negotiations and discussions, we've reached a settlement where Steelcase will cover half the cost of that repair and pay the city for that. And then Grand Rapids will cover half of our 50% as well, because this pipe was both on Grand Rapids property, if you will, and Wyoming side of the road. We also clarified in the future in terms of the maintenance responsibilities, the portion of the pipe that's outside the city outside of the right-of-way will be Steelcase's responsibility. The portion of the pipe that's on the east half, in the right-of-way on the east half, is Grand Rapids' responsibility, and the portion of the pipe in the right-of-way on the west half will be Wyoming's responsibility. So a little involved, but we feel that this is a fair settlement of a 2.5-year-old claim, if you will.
Let's call the roll and end this.
Councilmember DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
Breathauer,
Yes.
Postma,
Yes.
Hostler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Let's do Resolution D.
Resolution D is to authorize the city manager and city clerk to execute an amendment to the street lighting contract with Consumers Energy Company.
Motion by Breathauer, support by Postma.
We're having Consumers Energy relocate a street light that's necessary for the upcoming work on Prairie Parkway, and Consumers Energy will charge us $230 to do that.
Well, that's within our budget, I think.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how come we have to approve it if it's well below that
Yeah.
threshold?
It's an amendment to our agreement with Consumers Energy. So many times we'll have larger issues than this, but it's technically an amendment to the agreement between the city and Consumers Energy.
We probably could have passed the hat tonight and collected that, and not even had it on the agenda, but, you know.
If I could have done that, I would
I
have.
know. So, let's call the roll.
Councilmember Breathauer.
Yes.
Postma.
Yes.
Arnoyes.
Yes.
DeKreiger.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Postler.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. So moving right along, we have award of bids, contracts, purchases, and renewal of bids and contracts. Let's do E and F together tonight.
Resolution E is for the purchase of a generator and controls upgrade at the drinking water plant. And Resolution F is to award a bid for the drinking water plant discharge valve replacement project.
Your motion? Motion from Arnoyes and support by DeKreiger.
So as the council may recall, council approved hiring an engineering firm last summer, I believe, to look at upgrading our generator capacity at our drinking water plant. We currently have 2 generators there. The generators themselves are in decent shape, but the control equipment is obsolete, and so we're looking to upgrade that. We're also looking to add a 3rd generator to increase our ability if we lose power. Our existing 2 generators really can't even keep up with our average day demand, let alone our maximum day demand. And so we're looking at adding a 3rd generator in addition to upgrading the control system for the 2 existing generators. So this is something we've budgeted for. The cost is just over $3 million to do that. There's a pretty long lead time for generators, so this project probably won't be completed until 2028.
Really?
Because of the long lead times for generators. Usually, Aaron can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen them like they're 18 to 24 months lead times for these things. So.
And we can limp along that long?
Yeah, we'll update our control system first for the 2 existing generators, and then when the 3rd generator finally comes in, then that'll get installed.
Okay.
And then, I'm sorry, the second one, we have 10 high service pumps that pump treated water from the drinking water plant into our transmission system. And we are looking to replace the discharge valves on 4 of those 10 high service pumps. And we received bids for that, and the low bid was just over $1.3 million for that. And that's something that we budgeted for as well.
Any more questions? Let's call the roll.
Councilmember Arnoyes.
Yes.
DeKreiger.
Yes.
Breathauer.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Postma.
Yes.
Postler.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Let's do award of bids. G, letter G, please.
Resolution G is to accept a proposal for salt dome conveyor repairs, and this resolution includes budget amendment number 14.
Motion? Motion DeKreiger, support by Hill.
So I think it was this fall that the conveyor system broke. I think the belt actually split in 2, and so we use this when road salt is loaded on it. It conveys it up and into our I don't know what we call it, but the salt barn.
Yeah.
Where we store our road salt. That broke. This is a proposal from a company for just over $17,000 to repair that conveyor system so we can convey our road salt into our salt barn.
I thought we had repaired it at that time, did we not?
I think where we repaired the area where the salt is dumped into, but this is the actual conveyor that sends it up.
Okay. Okay. Seeing no hands for questions, let's call the roll.
Councilmember DeKreiger.
Yes.
Hill. Yes. Arnoyes.
Yes.
Breathauer.
Yes.
Postma.
Yes.
Postler.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Let's do H and I together.
Resolution H is to accept a proposal for virtual chief information security officer services, and Resolution I is to accept a proposal for servers.
Motion, please. Motion by Postma, support by Breathauer.
So the first one, and this kind of goes back to our, when we did our assessment of the IT department back in 2024, and one of the recommendations was to essentially hire a chief information security officer. We're looking at actually contracting out that service rather than hiring someone for significantly less cost, because we don't have the need to have someone on a full-time basis for that. This person would help provide guidance to us on cybersecurity strategy, remediation planning, and then we also had a a CISA audit, basically a cybersecurity audit, and they would help us prioritize which of the recommendations that we should implement immediately, which we've already done some of those, and then which basically prioritize a lot of those, help us prioritize those recommendations to enhance our cybersecurity profile. The second one is a proposal to replace the 6-year-old servers at the police department from Sentinel Technology, and that's about $71,000 to replace those servers.
Questions?
Yeah, I had a question on this server.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, we were talking about going to like cloud servers. Is that also for the police department too, or are they going to stay with a physical server?
Well, these would be physical servers, and Paul, I don't know if you have any more information than that. I know these are replacing physical servers rather than going into the cloud for this particular one.
Are we going to have to go to the cloud soon for that too, Paul, like we talked about?
So we are currently evaluating a strategy for like a hybrid mix of both cloud storage and on-premises storage. We have a virtualized server environment, meaning these large servers that are on the agenda tonight house other virtual servers inside of them. A lot of our applications are still on premises. For a lot of our evidence files, we have many terabytes of storage that we have to keep forever because some of these major crime cases last a very long time, and so we have a retention period that's permanent. Just the volume of that data, it's a lot more economical to store it on premises instead of up in the cloud.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you.
So will these become extinct soon and we won't need them? What do we do a more major?
Yeah, we're watching cloud storage prices come down, and I think in the next generation or two of servers, we'll see more and more of our data stored securely in the cloud, where it'll just make sense at some time to come, but just not now.
I'm interested to know also, like, we're replacing servers. How many? 6? 2. Is there, what happens to is there a market for the other ones? Is the company we buy the new ones from able to recycle or refurbish those for?
So we do recycle servers, so we send them off to auction, where they're often purchased by third parties, or we'll send them to a company like CompRenew, and then they refurbish them. Remember that these are 6-year-old servers that have been powered on for 6 years straight. A lot of moving parts in there, so they're pretty worn out by the time we get rid of them.
Okay. Any other? Let's call the roll.
Councilmember Postma,
Yes.
Brethauer,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Postler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. We have 2 ordinances to address tonight.
Now we have J.
Oh, Jay. Okay. That snuck under the radar here. Let's do Board of Bids contracts J first.
Okay. Resolution J is for the purchase of fitness equipment.
All right. Motion by Postler, support by Postma. I believe this is for the police department.
Yeah, this is to replace some of the fitness equipment at the police department. We have a grant actually that's covering 100% of this cost.
Well, how about that? Questions?
I just think some of this was kind of overpriced because being in this field, I know, and then I Googled some of it too. So, yeah, it's been paid by a grant, but that's ultimately all of our tax money. I just think some of these, it was probably the lowest bidder, but it's still quite overpriced. So I just wanted to make that, yeah. And then hearing the firefighters, they use ladders to practice with for these rescues is so important. I know it's hard for police officers to get specific, but I also think of some of the equipment will probably never be used, but I guess if that's what the police, really want and they feel they need, I will, definitely, I will vote for it, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents worth in.
Well, thank you. Can you remind us who the grant is from?
It's from MCOLS, that's the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, and they have a continuing professional education grant.
Okay. Well, let's call the roll.
Councilmember Postler,
Yes.
Postma,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
Brethauer,
Yes.
DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Now we'll do ordinance 1-26.
I'm going to summarize this. So ordinance 1-26 is a bond ordinance for improvements to the city's existing sewage disposal system. This ordinance will take immediate effect.
Well, that's a nice shorter description than what we're looking at here. So, motion, DeKreiger, support by Arnoyes.
This past fall, the council issued a resolution of intent to issue up to $9 million in revenue bonds to upgrade our headworks equipment and our primary tank equipment at the wastewater treatment plant. Actually, the prices came in quite a bit less than what we were thinking they were. So this bond resolution would authorize us to borrow up to $5.5 million rather than $9 million to do these two projects.
You like 5.5 better than 9, especially when you're talking millions. Let's call the roll.
Councilmember DeKreiger,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
Brethauer,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Postma,
Yes.
Postler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Ordinance 2-26.
Ordinance 2-26 is to amend section 90-515 of the Code of the City of Wyoming by adding subsection 149 to rezone 1277, 1391, 1402, and 1509 36th Street from R2 Residential District to RO1 Restricted Office District. This ordinance is in first reading.
Can I get a motion? Postma, support by Arnoyes.
So we have 4 parcels on 36th Street between Michael and Burlingame that are currently zoned residential but used on a commercial basis, such as a dental office. I think there's a financial institution as well. And those uses were allowed through previous variances years ago. So for example, with the dental office, the variance says you can use this just for a dental office. So over time, they've made improvements to these properties that have enhanced the commercial use of those properties rather than the residential use. And as some of those businesses look to either retire or sell, it's very difficult for them to do that if the property can only be used for a single use. So this would rezone those properties to restricted office that would allow their current uses and also some additional uses as part of that restricted office zoning designation.
Okay. Are these on the south side of 36?
Some are on the south, but I think they're on both sides actually.
North and south side?
North and south.
Okay. I'm picturing that area. I'm just trying to...
And I know the dental office moved on Byron Center by 52nd Street. It was Dr. Hers.
So this would help it
Dental. Yeah,
be
and it's been up
redeveloped.
for, like, sale for a year or two, maybe even longer. So I think this will help move it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's call the roll then.
Councilmember Postma,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
Brethauer,
Yes.
DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Postler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Mr. City Manager, do we have any informational material to distribute tonight? Nope. Let's go to acknowledgement of visitors. This public comment period is an opportunity to share concerns or present topics to the City Council that were not part of this meeting's agenda. This is not an opportunity for dialogue with City Council. The Council may make referrals or request staff to follow up. Please provide your name and address. When approaching the podium, there's a 3-minute limit per person. Who would like to address the Council tonight? Thanks for patiently waiting through the first half of the meeting for this opportunity at the end.
For a couple of you, I was here 2 weeks ago, and concerning the opening...
Name and address first, though.
Oh, I am sorry. Jan Bremer, 4651 Allison, Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah, we live behind, or near behind, the Grand Rapids First Church on 44th Street. Recently, they sent us a letter wanting to open the gate on the back gate, which is only supposed to be open for emergencies. And they somehow, going back, when they were originally built, the city was such a traffic mess with people going through the neighborhood that the city blocked them from using that gate for access. They wanted to open, and then about 10 years ago, they also wanted that, asked to have that opened again. 2 or 3 years ago, they asked. And every time, they were denied. When this letter came out, something wasn't right, because they had been denied repeatedly, and it was a prohibitive BZA stipulation. Access was denied. I would like to see the city, I would personally would like to see the city stop them from using our neighborhood for exit on their special occasions that they're wanting. They have been pushing our neighborhood for so many different things. One neighbor, the music from the youth group has been so loud, people that live closer to it, the dishes on their table literally shake when they're eating dinner. I hear it in my basement when I'm downstairs sewing. My windows are closed, my door is closed, I have the air conditioning on, or the heater is running, and I hear the music from there. I would like to see a permanent stop to that gate opening. That this gate was originally put up for emergencies only. I don't know if anybody else has something they'd like to say.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for a few moments of your time. My name is Tim Spears. I live at 4480 Sherry Lynn Drive in Wyoming, just down the street from Jan. And I just wanted to say, first of all, I'm not trying to disparage the church. What they do there, they're our neighbors. I think we've gotten along fairly well, but I think the solutions could have been taken care of outside of this forum, but I think that either the church could consider adding another service. If their people want to get out fast, they could add another service so they don't need to go through our nice, quiet neighborhood. Or, as Jan said, we might have to put up something permanent so that there's no more misunderstandings. It's a nice, quiet neighborhood, and we try to take care of it. And I worry at some time a little kid's going to be running out there when these cars are going through like they did this fall, and somebody's going to have a tragedy on their hands. I think we can work with the church, but they seem to think that it's their street to open up whenever they have time. So thank you for hearing my words.
I'm Jeffrey Dick, 1006 Burton Street Southwest. Mayor, in your remarks about the city, you mentioned about Wyoming being a city where neighbors take care of neighbors. And I agree with that 100%. I'm a part of the Gottfriedli listeners in the Gottfriedli neighborhood. Neighborhood is a really important part of our community. And I would love the city to continue to think about identifying neighborhoods within the city of Wyoming, and especially creating some signage like we can see all through Grand Rapids that identify different neighborhoods to elevate a sense of ownership and belonging to a neighborhood. And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for sharing tonight. Anyone else? Don't be shy, we're very friendly.
I didn't really plan on saying anything, but I just have a concern because I just have my house by myself, single household, and I'm trying to pay the bills. And I was just curious, I mean, I'm not curious, I'm frustrated and angry because my mortgage keeps going down and my house payment keeps going up. And it's very frustrating. So I just wonder, is there any way we can maybe have millages only on presidential elections where we're always asking for money on these? Like when we had the last increase, I called like 5 neighbors and nobody knew there was even a vote. So I just think it's wrong for you guys to keep putting in asking for money when only people that know about them are like unions, all the unions around here, and it just keeps making my house rent go up because my taxes keep going up. It's really frustrating. And then the water bill was double. It's just, you guys just need to start thinking about people that are trying to live on their own one income. So that's frustrating. And the other thing that frustrates me is, like my neighbor's car got stolen and the kids took it and rode all around. Oh, I didn't say my name and address.
Yeah, that's what we're just.
Oh my gosh. Deb Myers, 2221 Thornwood,
Thank you.
Southwest, just around the corner. Sorry about that. So she had her car stolen, and the police said, well, they can't do anything about it. Do these kids not get, have to do, what do they say, community service or anything? They just get away with it until there's, the police officer told her 15 times before they can do anything to them. That's not why I want to pay them more. I want these kids to be punished. They can't just go and steal things and break into your house. Anyways, that's all. Sorry. I wanted to vent it because you guys have power. My neighbors don't.
Yeah.
So those are my concerns.
Just one thing on the millages. A lot of the millages that you might be talking about are school millages, and we have no control over those.
Who puts them on?
The school system.
So they can just say they want to do a vote now? That's why nobody knows about it. It's not
The
fair.
clerk's office has to run the election, but they put the millages on themselves for school.
And then they moved the thing, so I ran around trying to find where I'm going to vote, because now we're at a whole nother spot. Before, it used to just be at the end of our road. And Porter, yeah, is that right? Is that right, Porter? Is that where we used to go? Anyways,
Thank you.
they've changed it. This is the 3rd time they've changed my voting location. Do you guys do that? No.
Clerk's office does that.
Clerks, oh, you guys
And
don't
we're
have,
doing some of that consolidation to save money.
you don't have any pull? You guys don't have any pull to
We'll
have
talk
them
later.
stop changing it?
Talk later.
Okay, that's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else tonight? Let's go around the council quickly. Anything, Mr. Arnoyes?
I have a lot of things, but I will leave some for others. First, we have a subcommittee for the manager review committee, so a email will come out to the council members for comments and feedback. So we will be able to do our evaluation for Mr. Shea, and more to come on that, but you'll have some inclusive instructions on that. And then just a quick thank you to our staff. What a phenomenal thing to see today, that video. It's why we're here, to make that difference, and you all do that. So thank you very much for the impact that we have in saving lives. It's just heartfelt. It's wonderful. Thank you. And then also a big thank you to our Public Works team. This week was not easy, and it continues to probably not be easy for a while. Working all through the nights, keeping our streets plowed and safe, and very much appreciate all that. So thank you.
Yeah, a couple things. I'm going to kind of reiterate what Rob just said, but I want to thank you, Mayor, for your kind words to all of us tonight. We certainly appreciate what you've done the last 3 years and a couple of months. It's been a pleasure serving with you, and we look forward to serving with you yet this year, so thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank our firemen again. I see most of them left, but Kip, I'm sure you can pass this along while we're so proud of them, and what a great representation of our city. I know that they're doing it to save lives, and I don't want to diminish that, but wow, it really makes
our city staff, our citizens, we're all just super proud. So thank you for doing that. 3 lives is a big deal. And then just want to thank Aaron for all of his work on the roads, you and your staff. I don't think you guys have been getting a lot of sleep lately, and we're all struggling with roads, but I told Aaron before the meeting, I've been outside the city a few times the last couple days, and you can tell when you cross the city line. It's different. Our roads are better. So, thank you.
Yeah, but I also like to thank our neighborhood firefighters who assisted our firefighters on that fire last night. We've got a great relationship with them, and I'm so glad for our citizens we have that great relationship. And also, to reiterate some of the things I mentioned last year, is I'm so proud of our being an American, born here, raised here, and the Constitution of the United States. And I really will stand up against any other political ideology which stands against our Constitution and the freedoms we have here. And one good thing about, and this even applies to the Olympics, when you look at those Olympic gold medalists, the countries who win the most usually they respect their women, and women have a lot of respect here in the United States, and I'm so glad I can be a doctor here in the United States. In other countries, there would be no way I could. And I'm a Christian, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I've been a grandma for quite a while, and I just have a great career as well, and I just am going to fight, to my death, to support our United States of America, and I will stand up against any other political ideology which tries to demolish the United States of America. And it's been so much fun working with Mayor. I've known him for years. He's been my council member at large. He's always available for a phone call. And even we wave as I'm walking by in the morning on my exercise. And I am going to miss working with him, but I'm glad. I live the closest, and I'll be able to see him quite frequently. So blessings on you, Mr. Mayor, for the rest of your tenure, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I got another 10 months yet.
10 months.
Mr. Postma.
Boy, I don't want to repeat everybody too much, but first, great job on your speech. I could tell you were a lot more comfortable this time than the first time. But great job. You've done a great job as mayor, too. And you do have another 10 months, so.
To Michigan, goodbye.
Yeah, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Michigan, goodbye.
Public Works, they show up big when you need them, and that's what they're doing right now, and we appreciate that. Thanks so much, Kip, for bringing that video in. What a great representation of our public safety department. I've always said public safety is one of the most important things the city does, and I couldn't be more proud of the work that shows that you've trained for. So thank you. That's all.
I'll try to keep it brief. John, thank you for making the mayor look so good today. I know the city put a lot of work into everything that he does. It was a great speech. Always learn something new too every time. Kip, I saw the video this morning on Facebook of the fire, and the first thought I had was, are we going to hear more about it today? So thank you so much for making us informed right away. Tree Amigos, thank you so much for coming in today and keeping us educated on everything Arborist related. And final thank you to Public Works. You guys are doing such an awesome job on the roads. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, today was very informative. I appreciated all the presentations. I do want to make one slight correction. People keep saying, oh my gosh, our firefighters saved 3 lives. That's great. You guys, there was 4. What about the cat? Like, stop ignoring the cat. There was 4 lives saved. I'd like to give our firefighters full credit for all the lives that they saved. And also just as a quick follow-up to one of the things that was mentioned, Jeffrey Dick asking about the signs for the neighborhoods. I feel like they've been asking for years and years and years for signs, and I think for a while the reason why we didn't give it to them sooner is because we were in the middle of the rebranding and getting all the new logo and all that. But now that all that's been sorted, can we get that going? Because that would be really great. I think it would do a lot of good.
Yeah, I think
for
we can. We got to
multiple
sit down
neighborhoods.
because, in terms of how you define a neighborhood and where does it start, where does it
For
end?
sure.
That's some of the challenges with that as well. And, where do you put the signs and so forth? So
Well, I'm
but
sure
that's
they'd
something we
be-
can work on.
I'm sure they'd be happy to help decide where the signs in their neighborhood go.
Yeah,
We
that-
could always just go on like a neighborhood by neighborhood basis with other, like citizen-led groups and whatnot. But yeah, I think that's
Good.
all I got.
I would echo that as well. I think it's time we take another look at that. I have nothing to add because you guys have all covered everything. But I will ask for a motion to go into closed session to discuss Tammy Robertson versus the City of Wyoming lawsuit. Motion by Postma, support by Hill. Let's call the roll.
Councilmember Postma,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Arnoyes,
Yes.
Breathauer,
Yes.
DeKreiger,
Yes.
Hostler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. We meeting upstairs or next door?
West Conference Room.
West Conference Room.